In this video, I will continue with History Chapter 3, that is Ruling the Countryside. Before introducing the new topic, let us just revise in what we have studied in Part 1. In Part 1, just I told you how the Britishers affected the life of the farmers, what changes they have brought in villages, and they have introduced different land revenue systems, and very adversely the people were affected in the village. Now we will see what else they have done, because that was not enough. They have brought many changes and their desires were never fulfilled. They want more and more, so we'll continue with what they have done further. So what happened? They realized that this land revenue is not enough. This land is will not give us only revenue. We can get many more things from land. That is the major thing. What land is doing is directly it is giving us crops. Indirectly they were collecting revenue, but they can get a variety of crops. So they found now this idea that we can get the crops demanded by the Europe. They can now grow a particular crop which will fetch them more income. So they were trying their best. They were trying to expand the cultivation of opium and indigo. Now, what is this indigo? It's actually, we can say, your mothers might be using, all are using for dyeing the cloth. That is dye. That is needle what we are using at home, and it is produced from an indigo plant. So now we will see the history of the indigo plant. And not only indigo, other than indigo, they were forcing different farmers to produce particular crop which they want, like jute in Bengal, tea in Assam, sugarcane in Uttar Pradesh, and there are a variety of crops which they want. They were asking the farmers to produce particular crop, and there were different methods they were working on to increase their income. So now we will see the major, what we are going to work here is to see the history of indigo, as I told you. Indigo, as it's a dye which is used to color the cloth. You can see here the two pictures I have shown. The common thing in these two pictures is the rich blue color used here. If you will see, the Morris cotton print, it is produced in England. The print is produced in England, but the blue color which they have used for dyeing, it is actually produced in India. From India only they were fulfilling their demand of indigo, and we were world famous. All over the world the indigo was popular. The Indian indigo was popular all over the world. Now the question is, why only India? Why only the Indian indigo was famous all over the world? As it is produced from the plant, other countries also can produce this. The reason is the climatic conditions. It is mainly it is grown in the tropics. That was the reason indigo was mainly Indian indigo was used, and the manufacturers of Italy, France, Britain, many other countries were taking indigo from India. Now the issue is, as you can see, many countries are taking indigo for dyeing the cloth. So the supply was not, the demand was not fulfilled. They want more and more. So Europe was getting a very little amount of indigo, and even the price was very high. Very high amount of money they have to pay for the indigo. So they have to go for another option. Their demand was not fulfilled. So they just went for the substitute. Another plant which is producing blue color is woad. Woad is also producing a violet like blue color it is producing, which is used for dyeing the clothes. Now the important feature of woad is it can be produced in temperate zones also. So now it was easily available in Europe, in France and northern Italy and Germany. Many these groups started growing woad, and they started using woad for dyeing the clothes. Now the producers of woad, they were having the tension of competition. Yes, they were facing competition with the Indian indigo. So to get a safe market, they asked their government, they requested their government to put a ban on indigo. Indigo should not enter our market. There should be a ban on import of indigo, so that we can get a free market. Our woad only will be used by the manufacturers. So this continued, but later on what happened? Actually, people preferred indigo only as a dye. The reason was there was quite a difference between indigo and woad. Indigo produces a very rich, bright blue color. As compared to this woad, this produces a very dull and pale blue color. So there was a more preference was given to indigo. Later on, the cloth producers, as they preferred indigo, they persuaded their government to put a relaxation on the ban on indigo. Because they want indigo only, so they asked for the relaxation. Later on, the French and the Caribbean islands, Portuguese, many groups started growing indigo, and it was a major, at a higher level, indigo cultivation was done. That is why I have mentioned indigo plantation. You can see here plantation. Now, why we are using the word plantation? It is a little bit different from a general simple cultivation. Plantation is when the cultivation is done on a large scale. When there is a large scale of the investment as well as the labor labor is involved, more investment is done, and it is done in a more systematic way, especially for the commercial crops, for the purpose of earning money on a wide scale. When we are doing it, is called plantation. So indigo plantation was spreading in different areas. Now the demand was growing further more and more. As what happened in Britain was industrializing. More and more industries were growing in Britain. So there was an enormous demand for dyeing the cloth. As they are producing the cloth, they want a dye to color the particular cloth. So there was even more demand. It multiplied. More and more demand for indigo was there, and the supply was not sufficient accordingly. So now what is the situation now? The need of more and more indigo. There was no option. They were desperately looking for the options that anyhow they want indigo from anywhere to dye the cloth. Now how they will fulfill the demand? How to procure this demand? That is the big question. You can guess the answer from where they will fulfill the demand for indigo. Yes, to fulfill the demand for indigo, the people turned to India. Now, as the Britishers, as we have seen the East India Company, they were just looking for the ways to get more and more money, as we have found in the previous methods. So they were just started looking for the ways how to expand indigo cultivation. They have seen all over the world there was a great demand for indigo, so they started planning and working on the land so that they can expand indigo cultivation in India. So what was happening? They have first started in Bengal. In Bengal there was a rapid increase in the indigo production. It was dominating the whole world. Almost 30% of the indigo which was imported to Britain was only from Bengal. That is the data of 1788. And in 1810, what happened? 95% of indigo imported to Britain was only from Bengal. So at a higher level, indigo was produced, and India was importing the indigo. That was 95% from India it was going. So as the people found that indigo, it's a major source of income these days. As they found it's a fetching money, lot of money. Even the officials, they left their jobs and they started working as the planters. Even the people from outside, they were also tempted with this lot of money. They, from this Englishmen and Scotsmen, they all came to India and they became indigo planters. People started taking loan from the banks or from the money lenders, and they started doing indigo plantation. So at that time it was seen as a major source of income. So now we will see how the indigo was grown. As the people are expanding the indigo cultivation in different ways, they want money from indigo, how it was done. So the indigo was mainly grown under two different systems that I will be telling you one by one. The first one was Nij and the second one was Rayoti system. The two methods were used to grow in indigo. The first one, as you can see, Nij, it is taken from the Hindi word personal, direct control. In this, a planter is cultivating indigo and he is controlling the land directly. He is only controlling whether land is his own. He is the landlord, or sometimes he can ask for a rent also. Land is taken by him. Now he will having the wholesome control over the land. He will control the whole production, and he can hire labor also. He is hiring the people, but the direct control is made by the own. As a planter, he is controlling the whole production. So this is niche cultivation. But there were several of drawbacks under niche cultivation. Okay, so we will see different problems which were there in the niche cultivation. The first problem was they cannot expand the area under cultivation, as indigo requires a fertile land which was already busy and it was densely populated. So the small pieces of land only they were getting for the indigo plantation, scattered here and there, small plots they were getting. They were not getting a big area to expand the production. That was one problem. The second problem they faced, even sometimes to get more land, they started evicting the peasants. They were removing the peasants from their areas and they were doing the work. They started growing indigo in their areas, and what will happen? Yes, it will lead to conflicts and fights. People were fighting because they were removed from their areas. This was one problem, that is availability of land. The second problem of the niche cultivation was the availability of labor. As the people were already busy in rice cultivation, that time when they need labor, they were already busy in rice cultivation, and there was a big difficulty in getting the labor for the indigo plantation. And the third problem is another input. What inputs we need? We can see all the problems are related to the inputs. The first was the land. That was also less, as well it was used for rice cultivation. The second was a labor problem. Again, labor is involved in the rice cultivation. The third input what we need is we need plugs, we need bullocks. All these things we need, and this was also another problem. It was not available. All these were busy in rice. At the same time, simultaneously it is going, and exactly the same time when indigo planters needed this plugs and bullocks, they were busy in rice production. So this was another big problem faced under niche cultivation. So it was very difficult for the planters. They were reluctant to expand the area. They were not able to expand the area under niche cultivation. That time, if you will see the data, only the 25% of land producing indigo. Total land, whatever indigo is produced, 25% is produced under niche system, and rest of the 75% of the indigo cultivation is done under another system. Yes, what was the system name? This I mentioned before. It's known as the Rayoti system. Okay. Under the Rayoti system, what happened? The planters, they will ask the ryots, or sometimes they are forcing the ryots to sign a contract. According to that contract, now who is a ryot here? Ryot is a cultivator, a person who is working on the field. They are asking the ryot, or sometimes they are asking the village headman to sign a contract for the indigo cultivation. Now what is the contract? According to contract, once you have signed the contract, you have to grow indigo in the 25% of the land held by you. So they are forced to grow indigo. For that, they will get a loan at very less interest. That is a positive point. They will get a loan from the planter. They will grow the indigo. They will look after the seeds and growing of the crops. Everything they will do, and they will deliver the supply of the indigo they will do. This cycle was a continuous going on. Once they will supply the indigo, again they were getting the loan. Again they were producing indigo. Again they were getting the loan. Initially they were very happy. The ryots were happy that they are getting loan at less rate. So they were excited initially. But later on they realized that this system is oppressive. They were not happy with this taking of loan and all again and again. So they were dissatisfied later on. Not only this, they have faced two other problems also. The second problem was the planters. They are forcing the ryots that they have to use the best soil for growing indigo. But the ryots preferred that soil for the production of rice. They were using that area for the rice production. But they are forced to use that best soil for growing indigo. That was another problem faced by the ryots. One more problem which they faced was the area, the land where they have grown indigo, it cannot be used further for the rice production because the indigo roots are going deep, roots are there of indigo. So once the indigo is grown on the land, that land cannot be used further for the rice production. They cannot do the sowing of the rice. So these were the problems faced by the ryots under Rayoti system of indigo cultivation. So we have seen the two different methods of the indigo cultivation, and what we found that these methods were not at all profitable for the ryots. Ryots were not happy with these two systems of the indigo cultivation. They were pressurized for the cultivation. So now what we will see, the next topic, in this we will see to how long they will face this operation, and the time will come, then they will protest. So that the time has come, that is what the blue rebellion. The blue color, the blue word is used here, is used for the term indigo. Right. So what happened in March 1859? Finally, the riots, they started refused to grow indigo. There was a big rebellion spread everywhere. They started taking all their weapons, the swords and spears, bows, arrows, everything they started carrying, and they attacked the indigo factories, and simply they refused that they are not going to pay any rent to the planters. They are not going to grow indigo anymore. Even the women, they also came up with the pots and pans, all the implements from the kitchen they brought, and they were the part of the rebellion. They started protesting the people, who all are connected with the planters, the agents, the supporters. They all were boycotted by the riots. The riots were full of anger, the way they protested. They just taken the sword. They decided finally that now no more we are going to take any loan or advance from the planters, and we will not grow the indigo, and we will not accept any operation from the Lathials. Now Lathials are the people of the planters. Planters are having the Lathials who are carrying a lathi, like a strong stick is there. They are using that lathi to torture people, to show the muscle power. So they are using that. So they said that they will not, now no more they will be bullied by the planters, Lathials, who are sent by the planters. This is all the way they refused and revolted against the indigo planters. But the question is, how suddenly they started rebelling? From where they got the inspiration? They got some sort of inspiration or support. Without this, it's not possible. Because it was found, we have seen till now, Indians are not at all refusing and protesting the British rule. They are, the way they are expanding, Indians are not protesting till now. So from where some sort of support they have got? So the reasons, there were a variety of reasons how they got the inspiration to rebel. The first reason was the support of the zamindars. They felt that zamindars or the village headmen will support them, because the zamindars and the headmen, they were also one of the victims of this British oppressive laws, because zamindars were not not enjoying their zamindari rights. Their land was also taken over for a long time on lease, and even the headman was forced to sign the contract and grow indigo. So they were also not happy with the British laws or the laws of the indigo planters. They were not happy with the planters. So they found, the riots found that headmen and the zamindars will support them. The second reason is the timing. The timing, that is, I told you, it is 1859. Recently, the revolt of 1857 took place. Now, the revolt of 1857 is the most popular revolt. It is seen as the first war of independence. We'll talk in detail in the coming videos, as it is in the coming chapters. So, it is what a first event when Indians rebelled. So soon they also got the inspiration that they should also rebel against the wrong things. So that time the government was worried. Recently they have seen the revolt in 1857. Now they were worried that another rebellion will took place. So they were worried that if the rebellion will take place, the British government will be in danger. So that time the government was worried, and they started a tour. A Lieutenant General, he started a tour visiting the villages and seeing what is happening. So this riots found it like government is with us, and for sympathy they have come here. Actually they want to settle the matter. That's why the Lieutenant General visited for a tour. So the riots found that this person, government, will also help us, will support us. Finally, what happened? Government issued a notice also that now riots will not be forced. They will not be compelled to grow indigo. The notice was issued. So they were happy that government is supporting us. Actually, the government is not supporting them. Governments don't want a rebellion. They want to calm them down. They want that everything should be settled down and there should not be a big protest or war. That is why they just told that now nobody will force the riots to grow indigo. Here the matter ended. Then what happened? Many people, the intellectuals, the educated people, started writing about these oppressive laws and what was happening with the riots, the misery of the people. All this they started writing. The government was worried about this, that again if the revolt will take place, so they have to look into this matter. Now they were worried about the planters also. So what they have done, they started an indigo commission. an Indigo commission was set up to look into this matter and find out the ways to sort out this. So under the Indigo commission, what they have mentioned, they held the planters guilty, that the planters are responsible, they were forcing the riots, and it was not at all profitable for the riots. Riots were forced to grow indigo, they were not happy. So they just declared them guilty, and they told the riots that whatever contracts you have signed so far, you have to fulfill that. For the future, for further contracts, you can refuse. So these were the 4 things. Please write it down. The first thing is they held the planters responsible or guilty. Second is they declared that they were forcing the riots, and the riots were not having any profit in this. Further, it was told to riots that they have to fulfill the contracts what they have signed so far, and now they can, for future, they can refuse. So these were the 4 things mentioned in the Indigo Commission to settle the matter. They want to sort out the things and settle the things. Then what happened later on, the whole indigo production was collapsed in Bengal. As there was now they are having right to refuse, there was no much production in Bengal. Now the planters shifted to Bihar. They went to Bihar to fulfill their needs. But later on what happened, there was a discovery of variety of synthetic dyes. In the late 19th century, variety of color system came for dyeing the cloth. So now the business was severely affected. They were not able to manage getting much income as before. So this happened. Now what happened in Bihar? Bihar also now the same cultivation was taking place. There the peasants, that same time Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa. So they requested Mahatma Gandhi to visit Champaran, that is in Bihar. It's another most important event that took place in Champaran. That is known as a peasant satyagraha. Peasants revolted against the indigo planters and they requested Gandhiji to support them. So a famous satyagraha movement took place in Champaran. Why it is famous? Because it is seen as a first satyagraha movement when the Indians refused or fought against the wrong what happened with them. So that happened in 1917. That was the beginning of the satyagraha movement in our country. So here I have finished this chapter. I hope it is clear. All of you, please write down the important points that will help you more.